Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of my guitar showcase series. Today we're taking a look at my Frank Brothers signature build. This is the newest guitar in the collection. I've had this home just about a month now. So if I say anything outlandish about it or kind of gushing too much, try and keep that in mind. But I love it. This is my first trip down the custom guitar rabbit hole. Everything else in the collection is something I either bought used, local, or in a shop, was able to get my hands on it first. So this was the first time, putting a deposit down, waiting for the build and hoping it turned out, as good as I thought it would in my head. And they nailed it. It's amazing. It's the first thing I'm picking up every time I come down here to work on anything. It's great. I love it. But I figured we'd talk a little bit about the specs I went with, why I chose what I did for the build, and then we'll play the track. You can take a listen to it. I found Frank Brothers on Instagram late 2016, early 2017, and right away very attracted to the body style. To me, it looks like some of the old, Harmony, Teisco guitars, crossbred with a Les Paul. So it's funky, yet very classic, very distinct, and that kind of stuck out. That jumped at me right away. I went down and met them that year, played a few guitars, and decided that that's the way I wanted to go. I just had to wait. Everything I got up to this point was through trades, and they weren't interested in any of my stuff. So just had to wait it out. I didn't really want to sell anything, so I just waited the last couple of years until I was in a spot where I could make it work. But I spent that whole time just looking at builds, trying to figure out, what my guitar would look like when it came time to make the order. And I was all over the place. At one point I wanted white, toured it out, mastery hardware. And then it was a phase where it had to be Koa front and back, had to be really fancy looking. And then as we got closer, I kind of settled on the blacktop look. Love their gloss piano black finish. I love that contrast with the back and sides. It's very understated, very classic. To me, I like that. I went down and met with them in the summer of 2020, and we started talking, what I want out of the guitar, what kind of feel, what we want it to sound like. We went with the signature body, so fully hollow on the treble side and chambered on the bass. I said in the 355 video, I've always been really attracted to semi-hollow guitars, so this made the most sense to me. Like unplugged, it rings like a bell. Very resonant, very loud. I mean, to me, it was a lot of choices that were Frank Brothers. That was the thing that, to me, that I wanted something that was their guitar. So in my mind, like their pickguard design, as cool as the Explorer ones are, it's a tribute to something else. I wanted Frank Brothers through and through. With their pickguard, their floating tailpiece, they make those in-house. No one else is doing them. To me, Frank Brothers had to have the wood grain headstock with the Hex logo. Tortoiseshell purfling. Again, I haven't seen other builders doing it. I'm not saying they're the only ones, but they were the first guys I've noticed doing it, and it looks so sharp. So those were things that were non-negotiables. No matter what I was building, that had to be there. And we started talking woods, and I decided that as much as I wanted to do Koa, we were going to stick with a more classic tone wood. Go with a mahogany body, mahogany back. And at that point, Nick kind of snuck aside and came back to, well, we've got some unique looking pieces of mahogany. If you were into the Koa, this might be up your alley. It's not something that people who want your typical mahogany back are going to go with, but it's distinct. And he showed me that back piece. And as soon as I saw it, I went from I'm here to get a quote to how do I put my deposit down? That's going on my guitar. So I call it the mullet because to me we're all business up front, parties in the back. That's just for me to see, but I love it. Great looking piece of wood, very distinct. I went with a Brazilian Rosewood for the fretboard, which I'm not going to sit here and say it's better than any other Rosewood or the ebony they do. If I'm being honest, it's purely a snob choice. It's something they had in stock. I've never had the option of having a Brazilian Rosewood on a guitar before, so I figured we're here, let's do it. They found me Brazilian Rosewood for the headstock overlay as well, so the grain carries through very nicely throughout, very Very sharp. We went with a 50s V-neck, which I've always loved when I've played kind of older Fenders or Martin acoustics, but I've never owned one. So as soon as I saw that was an option, I figured that would be something I'd be into. It was a little scary to order a neck without trying it, but love the way it turned out. Nice soft V, rounds out really nicely up around the 12th. Very comfortable to play. A little bit thicker than my Novo, which I'm pretty happy about. Very comfortable in hand. For the pickups, we went with the Lollar Rayos, and that was another discussion we had where I've got Gibson guitars. If I want something on a track to sound like a Les Paul, I'm going to pick up my Les Paul. I wanted something that's going to stand out and be unique. Give me a reason to pick it up off the rack. And again, the Rayos was something that they were using in their very first build, so it felt like kind of a classic Frank Brothers choice. And I'm really happy I went with them. They sound great. Very distinct. It's somewhere between my Telly and the 355, which is such an awesome middle ground to have in one guitar. It can do just about anything. Let's take a listen. So here's our neck pickup, clean. We're going into the Benson Monarch. Let's go to that middle. And to our bridge. All right, stay on the bridge. We'll add a little bit of gain with the preamp Mark II. Here's our middle. And our neck. Then just because I'm feeling a little sassy, let's add some fuzz to that bridge pickup. And preamp Mark II. Cleanup's really nice. Let's kick it up. Thanks for checking out the video. We're gonna roll the track. Everything's recorded. Frank Brothers guitar, the Benson Monarch. Next up in the series, we're gonna take a look at my Fender Michael Landau Strat. So if you like the content, like and subscribe. Thanks for checking it out. Oh, buddy. Woo! That picker looks so good.
It's wild, eh?
Pretty crazy.
Oh yeah. And that back really came through.
That is awesome. That's amazing.